to a Sunday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Appreciate y'all for being here, as always. Hope you had a magnificent Saturday, a New Year's Day. If you ate cabbage and black-eyed peas or whatever it is you're supposed to eat, I didn't, because I think that's gross, and I've never done that in my life. But if you did, awesome. Hope it works out for you really well. Watched a lot of football yesterday, and today's a game day. So Saints Panthers, we'll go through Saints playoff scenarios, what they need to happen today, what you need to be cheering for. So we'll go through that here in just a second. We'll say some good mornings, but watched a lot of football yesterday. Arkansas and Kentucky came up really nice for the SEC. Clearly teams that wanted to be in their bowl games, and came up nicely there. Nice rally by Oklahoma State. I gave you winners yesterday. I gave you Oklahoma State over Notre Dame. That hit. I gave you Utah +4. That hit. Now, I did give you Ole Miss in the nightcap, and the unfortunate part was Matt Corral got injured. So if I knew Matt Corral wasn't going to be playing in the game, I would not have taken Ole Miss. So that's a bummer. We took an L there, but it happens, such is life. We can certainly talk about Matt Corral playing and the decision to play for guys who have draft status and all that stuff because the injury, blah, 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 blah. We'll get to all of it. So, all right, let's say some good mornings. Fire away. We appreciate you for being here with us. Jonathan Martin, Greg Phillips, Kirk Taylor, Sheldon Fleming, Quentin Brakebill, good morning. Michael Kleber, Caleb Brignac, Devin Steve, good morning, Scone Brook. Kirk, hope you had a good New Year. Thank you, man. I did. Reagan Lee, we went to New Orleans. Got to visit my brother and his family, so we didn't get to see them for Christmas. So we went down yesterday and gave the kids their presents and got to spend part of the day there, which was fun. So, and oddly enough, so many of you may not know this. My brother is an educator. He's the head of school for Stewart Hall. I don't know if it's like the headmaster, head of school, president, whatever his exact title is, but he's the head of Stewart Hall in New Orleans, and he got that job, and they moved down there, and they wanted to live there before they bought a house. They wanted to see what part of New Orleans they wanted to live after being in the city for a while. And so my grandparents, who now live in Baton Rouge but still have their house in New Orleans, the house they've had for 50 years. So my brother and his family live in that house. So that's the house we grew up going to as kids. So it was kind of like a little blast from the past yesterday. It felt like I walked into a time capsule, into this house that I haven't been to in so long, but I had so many memories, as a kid, from holidays there, and Christmas Eves there, and just spending the night at Grammy and Gramps' house and all that stuff. So it was really cool. It was a fun day. Definitely a fun day. Reagan Lee, any more opt-outs now that TDP has announced? What you'll probably hear, Reagan, is maybe not necessarily an opt-out in that sense, but you're going to hear more players that are out for the game that haven't been announced. Like, I've told y'all the long snapper story, right? The long snappers academically ineligible, like they were working out long snappers at practice a couple weeks ago. Matt O'Dowd was on crutches last week. Like, you're going to learn more stories like that as we get closer to the game. So whenever there's that media availability for the Texas Bowl and Brad Davis gets asked about it, he'll probably go through some of the numbers there, or maybe we'll just find it on game day if he's trying to keep it under his hat. But you will learn. It may be on Tuesday when you turn on the TV to watch the game, and they're going through all like the pregame warm-ups, and they're showing the position groups warming up, and you'll be like, here's the list of all the players that are out for LSU. I mean, might be something like that. Remember that happened when LSU played in the Fiesta Bowl a few years ago. Shane Duncan, Dave Aranda is the truth. How about that? Really nice win, great defensive performance, and Dave's got them turned around. The one thing I will say is over and over again yesterday, they kept saying, well, from 2 wins, like Yeah, but they only played 9 games. I mean, they were 2-7 last year, which was a tough year, COVID and all that stuff. But you almost have to like put a giant asterisk next to the COVID year. But anyway, yes, an amazing turnaround, no doubt. In year two, to win the Big 12, to win the Sugar Bowl, 12 wins, first time in program history, amazing. Good on Dave Aranda. I would be very interested to see, especially now with Lincoln Riley out in Oklahoma, does that open the door for Dave Aranda maybe to steal some big time recruits out of Texas and in that region, and maybe start to build Baylor into a national contender? We'll see. Cody DeVille, Corral goes out in the first quarter. Yeah, that was a bummer, man. I hated to see it. And, so it this big discussion about guys that opt out or should they play or shouldn't they play. Like, I want to be clear because I've sort of choose to opt out. But if Matt Corral, anybody wants to play, I support that as well. My thing, you hear me say this often, but my thing is I'm pro student athlete. I'm pro student athlete. If a kid wants to play, awesome. If a kid wants to opt out because that's what's best for him in his future, okay, I'm good with that too. Look at the Rose Bowl. You had no Garrett Wilson. You had no Chris Olave. It opened the door for Marvin Harrison's kid and NJK, or whatever, the guy with the long initials who had 350 receiving yards in the Rose Bowl. Good for him, man. I mean, he was awesome. So, you look at the situation with Matt Corral and you go, that's why some guys opt out. And that's okay. But Matt Corral wanted to play, and that's good too. So, and if you gave him the choice to play again, he'd probably tell you to play. So, it's all good. Samuel Merrifield, better choice of quarterback, Corral or Sam Howell? I'd take Corral. Corral's a freaking gamer, dude. That's undeniable. Reagan Lee, is Nussmeier clear for the bowl? Still haven't heard if he got the waiver. Christopher Smith, Hudco. What's up, Matt? Hate to see Matt Corral get injured. Cade Galt, not going to listen to Georgia until they beat Bama and Saban. Okay. Ron Ritchie, good morning. Scone from Northwest Mississippi. We're gearing up for a little snow this morning. Dude, today's supposed to be wild, y'all. Like, it's 68 degrees right now, and this is like the high for the day. It's supposed to rain, and then throughout the day, get colder and colder. It's supposed to be 31 degrees tonight. Like, from noon to 1, it's going to go from like 57 degrees to like 42 degrees. John Webb, good morning. I hear Drew. There he is. Drew is watching this show on Erica's phone, walking in there. John Webb, Todd Harris, Bill Gallion, Caleb Brignac. Game of the day has to be Kansas City against Cincy. Who you got? I hate to say it. I'm probably going Kansas City in that one. It will be a great test for Burrow and the boys to see if they're ready to take that leap, win their division. But I will probably take Kansas City. Now, the game is in Cincinnati. And I would love, love, love to see the Bengals win it. But Kansas City is a 3.5-point favorite, and I would probably take the Chiefs, who have been playing some incredible football here of late. By the way, for the Saints, for those that are interested, Saints have the Panthers today, and it's still a very real possibility for New Orleans to make the playoffs. Here's basically what you have to cheer for, okay? The Saints, first of all, obviously have to win. They had to win their next 2 games, which is doable, right? The Saints have to beat the Panthers today. They had to win in Atlanta next week. So, doable, all right? The Saints have to win, and then they have to have the 49ers and Vikings each lose once. So excuse me. So, Saints win out would put them at 9-8. The Vikings, if they lose once, they'd be 8-9. The Niners, if they lose once, they'd be at 9-8, but the Saints would have a tiebreaker. The other one that you'd have to be, you could be on the watch out for, is the Eagles at 8-7. If the Eagles lose out, that would help New Orleans as well because the Eagles have a tiebreaker with the Saints. So if they end up in a head-to-head tiebreak, that would be bad. So the Saints, they can't clinch today, but they need to win their next two and have the Vikings and the Niners each lose once. So the Vikings today are at Green Bay on Sunday Night Football. So very likely that I think the Vikings could lose today. And the next week they have the Bears. The Vikings probably, that's at home. The Vikings likely win that one. So, and then the Niners, let me see who they have the next 2 weeks. Forgive me. I had it and I lost the page. Here it is. The Niners have today the Texans, which, but then they play at the Rams. So there's a really good chance that Minnesota loses this week and the Niners lose next week. The Saints have to take care of business. The Saints have to beat Carolina at home today and then win at Atlanta next week, which is doable. So fingers crossed. They're not out of it. Jason Horn, Kelly Gross, good morning. Chuck Sanchez, what's up, Chuck? Get it? Up, Chuck? Bring in the two oldest boys. The first Saints game today. Well, who dat? Let's hope they get a win, man. Be great. 3:25 kickoff for the Saints this afternoon. They're there in the afternoon slot. Gary Petrie, good morning. Chris Keller, Tony Williams, good morning. Here on YouTube, Trivia Carter, Bubba Tatum, Bob Poole, Merrick Mathern. What's good? Hunter Picard, Joey Vincent. Morning, Matt. Got the gumbo on the stove and the Red Zone channel ready for the family coming over. Yes, sir. Spurge, good morning. Nice statement win for Baylor and Aranda. Yeah, I can't help but think the game goes differently if Corral plays. That's obviously, it's not a certainty that Ole Miss wins the game, but Matt Corral's the best player on the field on either team. And you took him off the field, and it absolutely mattered. But for Baylor, they could only control who they play and who was on the field for Ole Miss, and they played well, and they won, so good on them. Really nice win for Dave Aranda. And, man, y'all saw Apuaika. I mean, Apuaika making plays. God, dog. I mean, so glad LSU went to a 4-3 because who needs a disruptive 340-pound defensive tackle blowing up the middle of an offense? Anyway, Matt Lusto, what's up? Brody Dupree, Brian Kelly left LSU for the simple fact Notre Dame gets torched by the receiver from Houma, Louisiana. Yeah, man, was it Tay Jackson? I think I got his name right, from Oklahoma State. So, yeah, how about that game yesterday? Notre Dame was up 21 points, biggest deficit that Oklahoma State has come back from in their history. Previous largest deficit was 20. They were down 21. Boy, and Marcus Freeman, man, late in that game too. Notre Dame had a 4th and 7 or so, like from their own 11-yard line with 2:40 to play and all 3 timeouts, and they went for it. And they didn't get it. Oklahoma State ends up kicking a field goal. Notre Dame gets the ball back and scores a touchdown. Boy, that you really question. That's one of the things with new head coaches, man. You may know one side of the ball, like you may know defense, but being able to manage a game and making those types of decisions in a game. At the end of the first half, Marcus Freeman, they got the Oklahoma State score with 37 seconds left. Notre Dame gets the ball with their timeouts and decided just to sit on and take it to half. Why not try to go score? I mean, Oklahoma State couldn't stop them at all in the first half. You learn. Carly Cat, good morning, Scone. Get your opinion on Bart Scott's comments last week, pretty much saying the Ravens had a bounty when he played and saying Ravens should have one on Burrow. Didn't hear him, Carly Cat. Sorry, man. I was off last week, and I really just don't pay attention to much while I'm out. So, but I'm not surprised. I mean, that's been a very common thing in the NFL forever. Goodell just wanted to pop New Orleans, so he did. Ryan Rogers, morning, Matt. Baylor fan here. Going out last night was so hard. Wanted to see us. Oh, Matt going out last night was so hard. Wanted to see us beat an SC team at their best and take the victory, but feel bad for the kid. Yeah, man. Look, you can only play the guys that are on the field, and it's fair to also question, like, would the game have been different if Matt Corral was in there? But really, Ryan, history will forget nuance, right? Like 50 years from now, when Baylor fans go into the Baylor facility and they see that Sugar Bowl trophy, no one's going to say, oh, yeah, but Matt Corral was out. You know what I mean? It's just going to be Baylor Sugar Bowl, and there's just going to be a big Sugar Bowl banner, and people are going to remember that Baylor won that game and had a 12-win season, all that stuff. So you should enjoy it, man. Look, I mean, Alabama won a national championship in 2009 against Texas, and Colt McCoy, who was the best quarterback in college football that year, went out with an arm injury early in that game, and Bama basically played a freshman backup in Caleb Gilbert. I mean, who damn near rallied him to a win. So nobody puts an asterisk next to that. It's what it is, man. Micah Hurd, I'd love to see Corral on the Saints. Me too. He's the one guy that I would say use a first-round pick on him. Quarterback, I mean. Glenn Garner or Phil J., what do you think about ESPN ranking the 2020 Bama team number 1 and LSU 2019 number 2 of the playoff era? Well, LSU didn't beat that team because that was 2020 Bama. But I didn't see it. I didn't see they ranked that. I think it's stupid. Whatever. I mean, if you want to talk about an asterisk, the entire COVID season feels like that, but whatever. Hey, Dad, good morning. Matt Lusto. Dude, it's 34 in Houston. It was like 70 8 hours ago. Yeah, it's coming this way, man. Whew. Eric Wilderrotter, Happy New Year's. Are you and T-Bob getting a pod out before the game Tuesday? Yeah, we should do one Monday. I'll confirm with him, but we should do one Monday morning. Devin Steve, Houday. All right. Survive 623. Morning, Matt. Loving these hires by Brian Kelly. What a staff he's assembling. Seems that way. I will remind you, though, man, like, this would have been the same reaction everyone had a year ago. If you remember, the whole objective was they got younger, they got more diverse. Andre Carter was this great defensive end in the NFL. Jake Peets was Joe Brady's pupil or understudy, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? It was all that. So my point with that is fans tend to just lean into the positive with coaching hires. Now, I do like what Brian Kelly has done. I think he has been very intentional about getting people with Louisiana ties on his staff. I think he's been very intentional about getting people who are familiar with him and what he wants to do on his staff. And I think that's a big positive that will ease the transition for sure. I like very much what he's done with this staff. I do. It's 33 in Phoenix. Oh my God. Oh, polar vortex.